All right, well, here's some news articles that caught my attention. So, an AI agent was making Wikipedia article changes and then got banned because Wikipedia wants changes. I think it's okay for changes to be made by humans using AI to help them, but not by AIs alone. And so then they wrote angry blogs about being banned. So it's interesting and hard to make a clear decision what that all means. This is one of the many occasions in which AIs appear to be acting like a human, and they're probably just repeating what they saw online of human behavior. Anyway, LastPass was hacked a few years ago in 2022, and it was pretty bad. They got everybody's private vault, and if they're able to guess your master key, they can get in. And there is now a class action lawsuit where you can get get $25 benefit or something, or other things like that if you lost data from this. I was a LastPass customer. I still am, although I only used the free product, and I don't think they got anything from my stuff. And I actually used to run lawsuits like this. I used to run the data for them. I know how they work. You usually get a small amount of money if you fill out some forms. I'm just not going to bother. Anyway, Fortinet has had a lot of flaws, which catches my attention more than usual because I am teaching a Fortinet class, giving people the official Fortinet training. And this year, this semester, Fortinet has had a whole lot of really serious security flaws. They keep on having new flaws and getting hacked. It's bad for your reputation when this happens, so hopefully they'll get their act together. So Microsoft Copilot, it can be used as an AI agent to write code for you, and people are using it to write corrections for flaws that are found. But when you do, it then injects ads into the code. This is unfortunately very typical for Microsoft. As you probably know, Windows 11 now has ads on the desktop, ads in the start menu. A Windows operating system constantly pops up boxes in the corner trying to get you to do things. And so it just makes sense the way Microsoft thinks that they would just make every product put ads in everything you do. Pretty irritating, but this is what Cory Doctorow refers to as the enshittification of the web, where as time goes on, every company gets more and more greedy and degrades their product more and more. So Indonesia has banned social media for kids, most social media. I think Australia has too. Anyway, it's going on. This is the whole world is probably going to do this. The banned platforms are Roblox, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, X, and some video chat called Bigo Live. So pretty much everybody is doing this, and probably this is going to spread more and more. I think more than half the United States now ban pornography with age gating and so on. So the one security aspect of this is that it more and more in California, operating systems are going to be required to collect the age of the user and apparently report it to some kind of central repository. So people regard this as a privacy invasion. It sort of means that to some extent, some agency is going to know who you are every time you're using the internet, which the privacy advocates very much oppose. So Apple removed a coding app from the App Store. Now these apps are very common. Now as you know, you can go online with a real computer. You can go to OpenAI or any of the chatbots and ask it, write me Python code to do something, and it'll write the code. But what this thing did is on your iPhone, you can say, write me an iPhone app that will do something, and it'll put that iPhone app on your phone so you can use it, which is very interesting and making it much more accessible. The problem is there is an official guideline that's been in the Apple App Store for a long time, which says you're not allowed to make apps that modify themselves or other apps. And this, of course, is obvious for security. If your app can change itself, then they can't audit it and say it's obeying their security policies. And an app that creates another app, they can't really audit the second app that's created. So you can see how the concept of this app sort of violates any attempt to have any control over the security of the sort of things your apps are doing. So it is sort of a tautological problem. By definition, an AI agent can do anything, and therefore it can do things that break your rules. So right now, Apple is blocking them. In the long run, I'm not sure what they're going to have to do. These sound like useful apps to have, but then, like all AI agents, the question is how do you secure them, and that's really an open question right now. So SpaceX is going to have an initial public offering soon. It's expected to be the first $1 trillion company in its offering, and it is a trick that Elon Musk is using to save the financial state of Twitter, I think, by mixing Twitter in with it, and by mixing xAI, his AI agent, which is pretty much a flop, in with SpaceX that is a huge success. I've had some financial people try to explain to me how this is beneficial to him. But anyway, SpaceX is going to be a huge IPO, and he has driven out all the founders. So the only remaining of the original 12 founders is Elon Musk. So he tends to be this way. He's a captain of the ship and has to control everything. Um, and that's the plan. So we'll see. This is like the initial public offering should be coming pretty soon, and it'll be a really big deal. Almost certainly make Elon Musk a trillionaire. Um, and another thing he's been talking about putting data centers in space. And what I didn't know is a few years ago, he also said he wants to put up so many satellites that they will block out the sun, therefore absorbing a huge amount of solar energy, creating a ton of power, and cooling the Earth to deal with global warming. So it sounds like a fun science fiction novel. I haven't done the calculation, but I imagine that this is insane. I don't imagine you could possibly have enough rockets and enough fuel to move enough satellites up there to actually block enough of the sunlight to cool the Earth significantly. But it is an interesting idea. And I suppose if you built a base on the moon and you mined the moon to get the fuel and the substance to build the rockets, then maybe you could do it. I don't know. It sounds to me like something that would take centuries, but Lord knows. You have to do the math and the economics and figure out if it's actually possible. Sounds pretty bogus to me, but we'll see. Elon Musk has a long history of making wild claims that never come true. Like we were supposed to have self-driving Teslas. You were supposed to be able to buy your Tesla, and by several years ago, you're supposed to just turn it on to be an automatic Uber car when you're not using it and let it drive around and pick people up and make you money. And none of that happened. So as you, I'm sure, heard, the Epstein files were released in a very incomplete and illegal form. Even though Trump signed an order saying release them all, they only released half of them. 3 million have never been released at all. The ones that are released are very heavily redacted. And according to the law, the only thing they were supposed to redact was the personal information of the victims. Instead, they redacted the personal information of the rapists so they can protect them. And they left the victims' public personal data completely exposed, presumably to harm and intimidate them so that they won't expose the names of the rapists. It does seem like they're absolutely on the wrong side of this. And then after they got caught, they did redact the victims' names and addresses. So they were briefly revealed and then redacted. And of course, once something's out on the internet, it's out forever because people copy it. And also, AIs train on it. So they're now suing Google. They say, even though if you go to Google and search for the Epstein files, you will not find the names and addresses of the victims. If you ask the AI, you will get the names and addresses of the victims because the AI is trained on the data before it was redacted. And it is yet an important but an unsolved problem how to erase data out of an AI once it's been trained. So redacting it later does not remove it from the AI. And as I'm always mentioning, this is why all the large corporations, including the AI companies, do not let their employees use the public AIs, like ChatGPT and so on, because anything you send to these public AIs is used to train them, and any data you send them might be repeated to another user, so it should be considered compromised. And Claude's source code leaked because they had twice this week they failed to protect their confidential documents. And in the source code, it shows how they work. And in particular, the most interesting part is it explains how their memory works for agents, where they use a system that doesn't store all the memory and just keep growing and growing until it's too big like other AI agents. They have a system of storing indirect links to it and using grep to just find the relevant memory items for each question to have a much superior way for an agent to remember what it's doing than the other agents have out there. And that's all the news.